Hello, Internet. My name is Chamomile.
And I'm Requiem. I I think I think we've made it. We're in Texarkana.
Yeah, no, we're here. It worked. The the
Yeah.
map that I got on my Vision Quest while I was on Fang Requiem's drugs was completely accurate. Everything has gone exactly according to plan. This is great. We're
All
gonna
right.
be in.
Now you've never been to Texarkana before, so you've got to be careful. The goblins are gonna try to sell you stuff, but you cannot. Don't even talk to them. Don't look at them. Just we got to keep walking, okay?
Hey, hey, yeah. How much do those weird little purple pears cost?
Cam.
Sorry, were you saying
We
something?
mustn't look at goblin men. We mustn't buy their fruit. Who knows upon what soil fed their hungry, thirsty root?
I mean, it's a purple pear, though. Is that like, does it taste like grape? Does it taste like a pear? Does it taste like both? I already loved pears, and now they're purple. I mean, green is an okay color, but purple is like top three colors.
If my hand was not still stuck in this web, I would slap you. Like, I guess like it is a very nice web, and I'm glad we're bringing it with me. But like, you're lucky.
Well, I mean, really, you're lucky because now you can look stuff up on the web at any time.
I already had Mother Sorrow's crystal ball for that.
The web is much better. So, getting into Chinatown here. So, we talked about the problems with Kindred of the East. Uh, and we have, which by the way, there are a couple of problems with Kindred of the East I didn't get to. I might bring those up if we lose steam with someone else, but I do want to try and change track.
Honestly, like, why don't you lay them out? Because like I'm kind of eager to hear them, and then we can talk about the other thing.
All right, fair enough. One thing that I noticed, this is one thing that I really wanted to have a page citation for. So I'm super sad. It's in the section on the Yakuza, though. I know it comes up there. Just look that up in the table of contents. You'll be able to find it. Because it's another one of those things where I would like to have an exact quote just so that people know that, like, I'm not making this up. I'm not exaggerating. This really happened. And it's not the only place it happened either. My perfectly legal PDF wasn't searchable, so I couldn't easily find a bunch of other examples. But by the time I got to the example in the Yakuza section, I was like, hang on. Hasn't this happened once or twice already? I should make a note of this. They keep referring to white slavery. So, like, the Yakuza are engaging in white slavery, which... Okay, so they're, like, kidnapping tourists or something. But, A, why would that be their main source of slaves? And B, when you're dispassionately describing, criminals who kidnap people for sale to other people, the term for that is human trafficking. Like, we have words for this. The use of white slavery is very, I mean, it's either racist or fetishistic. Like, well, it's both, but, it's going to lean to one side of that spectrum or the other. And it just stuck out in a big way.
I've sometimes heard the term white slavery used as a term for sex slavery specifically.
That's one
Uh,
thing that occurred to
so
me is like, is this supposed to be like a specific kind of slavery? But then they failed to establish that. So, writing
right,
for an American audience, how it immediately comes across is slavery of white people.
right.
Which, so, in fairness, it could just be, less bizarrely racially charged term for human trafficking, and it could be more, uh, the thing that you get British publishers doing sometimes, where they'll have guys in the Ku Klux Klan hoods, because that's a Catholic thing, and they won't realize it means something very different in an American context. Except that White
Right.
Wolf has no excuse because they are themselves American.
Like I think you would definitely want to use the term sex trafficking specifically, because even as a term for sex trafficking, the term white slavery does have sort of a racialized connotation. Uh,
Yeah. And then there's also just that they have this pseudo-Taoist affect that they describe. So part of Kindred of the East is that all the vampires follow one of 5 dharmas, and that sort of is your humanity track, which is something that should have been available to any kind of vampire. You know, any vampire who happens to be a Buddhist or Buddhist themed should have been able to do this. They should not have to have specifically been Kuei-jin. Kuei-jin should not have been a distinct type of vampire at all. They should have been a different culture of vampires. But they have these 5 dharmas, though.
India.
Yeah. So Buddha is in fact from
India.
India.
Sri Lanka.
But so there's plenty. So they have these 5 dharmas, and they have this this sort of mystical Eastern way of describing things that makes it just impenetrable to figure out what they're actually talking about. Especially because 4 out of these 5 dharmas are fairly inoffensive concepts of virtues you want to follow, but they have to find some way to make them grim and edgy. So there is one where like their whole thing is that they're like information brokers and hoarders, right? And so you could have done that where it's like Wen Shi Tong from Avatar: The Last Airbender, except a lot more overtly evil. And, there's an argument to be had about whether or not Wan Shi Tong is kind of a selfish asshat or if he is reasonably reacting to human violence. But regardless, you could have the World of Darkness version of this Dharma, this knowledge hoarding Dharma, be more obviously evil than Wan Shi Tong is, where it's not really debatable at all. Like, they're the bad guys. Okay, fine. That fits the World of Darkness. But they don't do that. They instead make these vague references to, like, oh, the Middle Kingdom is a web, and they're called, like, the Silent Shadow or something. They, crawl across it, plucking the strings and occasionally devouring unwary flies. The fuck does that mean? Why are they devouring? Like, okay, the flies are some kind of mortals, obviously. Why are they devouring them? How do they benefit from this? What? They're shady information brokers. It shouldn't be hard for you to make them grimdark, but instead they retreat into this very flowery and poetic description of them that implies they're up to no good, but will not give a straight answer of what exactly they're doing that is evil. And the one Dharma that they actually get right is the one where the evil is so obvious and overt that they can't screw it up. It's the Devil Tiger Dharma, where their whole thing is just that, like, they have this sort of a Sabbat, like, yeah, we're monsters, we're going to embrace that. We are cruel, sadistic torturers who are doing our level best to be as, monstrous as possible. Our goal is to become devils. Which, like, that's a perfectly good Dharma to have, but it says something that this is the only Dharma that they can get right. That they can actually explain in clear terms. Because it's the one that's... the evil that it does is so obvious. This doesn't look like a ramen shop. This looks like someone's kitchen.
Again, why do we understand her? We
Right?
do and we don't. Oh, is this the Monster Hunter?
Yes. This is...
Oh boy.
like, an anime just shows up in the middle of Vampire the Masquerade for some reason. This is a very... like, this is not anime straight. Like, you're not getting the pure stuff here. This is very anime as seen by the West. Specifically as seen by, like, Western otaku.
Yeah, and it's a piece of Japanese culture embedded in Chinatown.
Right. And there is, circling back around to how to do Chinatown right, there is something to be said for people who are, East Asian people who are in America, kind of, the way they can express their culture becomes constrained by the expectations of the culture around them.
Very
So, like, I could imagine a Japanese person who is forced to set up shop in Chinatown because, as far as the American majority is concerned, she's basically Chinese. Like, Americans know that the Japanese and Chinese people are different, but tend to, think of them as like Arizona and New Mexico fairly regularly. Where it's like, yeah, they're different places, but they're basically the same place, right?
I know he is nearby, but I lose its trail. Do we need to handle okay? You would know when you see it.
yeah, it's sort of like the liminality of Chinatown.
I appreciate your
It's,
concern
yeah,
for
like,
our residents.
they are Chinese to the Americans, and they are American to the Chinese.
It is a bad humor, the kind that make a little girl into
You
Princess.
get the whole thing that like Amy Tan gets into in the Joy Luck Club, where you have the first generation Chinese American immigrants, and you have their children, and sort of the cultural strain that gets pulled on them both ways. And this one woman, I don't remember which one, she's like, I had a dream I would come to my America. My daughter would never have to drink sorrow the way I did, but she drinks sorrow like Coca-Cola. And there's this one, each like part has like a little folk tale in between it. There's this one folk tale, and it's very clearly not. Oh man, I should have grabbed my copy of the Joy Luck Club. It's very not. It's very clearly like it's written like a Chinese folk tale, but it's very clearly not. Like there's a lot of American references in it. It's this sort of, and the solution in it is this compromise between this Chinese mother and her Chinese American daughter. It sort of leans into the liminality of this sort of dual immigrant identity. Liminality is this really important concept in literature. If our listeners don't know, liminality is the state of being in between something. Liminality can be a very uncomfortable place to be in, because when you are liminal, you can be anything, but you are nothing. It's a place of potential, but it's also very limiting. So when you're a teenager is a liminal state. Teenagers are children, but they're also adults, and so we can't really easily categorize them, and that kind of makes us afraid of them, because they don't fit easily into the category of adult or child. We can't really predict what they're going to do. We can't really necessarily predict their experiences of them. Some of them are going to essentially have the experiences of children and be essentially not really different from another child, but some of them are going to have really adult experiences. It makes them hard to categorize, and we abject something we can't categorize it. We don't like things that sort of blur categories. And if you look at like monsters, a lot of monsters are liminal in some way. They fit between categories. A vampire is undead, it is alive, and it is dead. A werewolf is both human and animal. A lot of monsters are chimeras. They mix animal parts. So the little chimera is part dragon, part lion, part goat. Monstrousness defies categorization. And we talked a little bit about this in a previous episode. That's why people who are liminal in some way, and frequently that's people who are minorities, but it can also be people who are just sort of outcasts in some way, or just are teenagers, or some combination of all these categories, will frequently identify with monstrousness, even if the monsters are not metaphors for being one of these minority groups. Johnny Sims of the Magnus Archives has talked about he doesn't really understand why so many people make jokes about finding the monsters hot and empathizing with the monsters, because they're all pretty monstrousness, and none of the monsters in the Magnus Archives are metaphors for any sort of real world group, but just by being monsters, they are appealing to anybody who is in a liminal group. Like, as a gay man, I exist in sort of a liminal state, and so I feel a certain amount of identification with monsters and monstrousness, even when the monsters are not really metaphors for being homosexual at all. I also sort of feel, as someone who's kind of a loner, kind of nerdy, I feel a certain identification of monsters, even when the monsters aren't really metaphors for either of those things. And you'll see.
Yeah.
Like you'll see. Sometimes I've lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. But liminality and monstrousness are deeply connected, and it's a lot of people in the real world are liminal, so they'll monsters when the monsters aren't a direct metaphor for whatever group they are part of.
I've noticed something wrong with the bloodstains in this game. This is probably fine.
Sorry to go on.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, the best parts of this show, whenever I'm editing it at least, like what I think, are the points when one of us really has a flow going and can sort of get a bigger, more complex idea out all in one go. It starts to turn into like an off-the-cuff video essay, which... Oh, that's right. Someone saw me trying to break into this place.
Can you jump in the dumpster?
I mean, strictly speaking, yes, but I don't know if it hides me. Also, the
Alright.
specific dumpster might actually be inaccessible due to... Oh, hang on. Does it not actually... It doesn't actually let me even drop in. I just stand on the air above it.
One of the many occult powers that Kotula has unlocked is actually immune.
As we all know, vampires are sexy, and that means that Cotula is unable to fall into the garbage. Alright, there we are.
Well, we haven't seen her for a while, so she must have ceased to exist.
Yep. So, Requiem. What you were saying earlier about, the goblin market and not buying the fruits and stuff,
Yeah.
that's specifically the fruits, right?
I mean, it really applies to everything. Like, think of the
So
fruit
that-
as, like, the fruit of the goblin's work.
Well, but this guy's selling like a hanged man's hand. It's one of those things where if you put a candle in it and light it, then only you can see the light from the candle.
Cam, it's gonna
That's so
strangle you or
cool.
something. And what is he asking you to pay for it with?
I mean, I don't read Texarkana, so I'm not sure, but a lot of the people around here speak English, so I'm pretty sure... You sold your name for a plant that body swapped. Don't get after me for paying weird prices for... How did you get your name back? That just occurred to me.
Don't worry about it. And also, that that clearly worked out for the best. Like, you got to visit Arkansas, I got to visit Utah. I think it brought us closer as a podcasting duo.
I mean, you're not wrong. Particularly since, it did kind of set off the chain of events that led to me murdering you, trapping your ghost, and then recorporealizing you by hijacking the ritual of Sigmund Freud with the power of friendship, which then physically brought us closer.
And you had this really fun road trip through Texas.
I mean...
You'd never been to Texas before, right?
I have not.
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
was
realize
pretty
Texas
fun.
was this haunted.
Yeah.
and I mean, as corny as it was, I enjoyed my stay at the hostel. Not so much because it was, not because it was a real haunted hostel experience, but just because it was nice to see small business owners having to go at it. The spiders that stole your identity turned out for the best.
Yeah.
We picked up a sponsor from Pizza Surf, and we're in Texarkana. I've got to get a souvenir from Texarkana.
No. Cam, my other arm is trapped in the web now, but I'm going to stop. Cam, don't.
Hang on. I won't even have to get out of the car. I'll just roll down the window and grab something. And do you think they take debit cards? They probably take teeth. They take human teeth, right?
I mean, almost certainly, but...
All right, fine. But, I mean, in fairness, the little I Heart Texarkana mugs are a little bit tacky anyway. There's probably a better souvenir around here somewhere.
don't go spending all of our teeth in one place.
There's the first time since like episode 3 where I haven't played this part of the game for several years since my last full playthrough, because since the Blue Machine was mysteriously unable to run the game properly in a turn of events that probably had nothing to do with being haunted at all, I had to switch over to the Red Machine that we've been running it on ever since, which means that my playthrough that I was doing on the Blue Machine had only got up to Hollywood. I took a good long break from it after the fucking sewer level. And by the time I had come back to it, the Blue Machine was refusing to run it. And the Red Machine is just such a hassle to get started that I have only been busting it out for these recordings. Particularly since I don't want to do anything with it except play Vampire the Masquerade, for fear that doing anything else will break it somehow.
Yeah. It's on its last legs.
So hang on, we are... Yeah, same place we were going before. Okay. And I mean, it's not particularly old or especially badly damaged or anything. It is not a solid state drive, and it's running Windows 10, which desperately wants to be on a solid state drive. So it is horribly slow all the time. I believe we're looking for the basement here. And this is why we put off Side Quest of Palooza, because we needed to have access to this place before we could...
Yeah, the bloodstains
do this side quest. Yeah, right. Just top notch, right?
I'm sure that's fine. Is your blood not square, Chamomile?
I mean, maybe I'm just not losing enough of it at once, but as far as I know, it is not. And this is the part where we immediately fulfill the curse we just placed on this guy.
Oh boy.
Now, I'm no good in melee, but I don't want to waste bullets on this schlub, so...
And he doesn't appear to be hurting you.
Yeah, I do have quite a bit of armor on right now, so you know.
I'm guessing we weren't supposed to kill him?
Oh no, we get extra XP for killing him.
Oh.
Curse fulfilled.
Everything's coming up, Cotula.
Oh, Requiem, they have a book stand. We have to get a book. Here.
Cam, it's gonna be some horrible occult No.
I mean, from the first two adjectives you gave out, I assumed that you were about to enthusiastically agree with me. It's an evil book. This is like your whole thing.
I don't know why you would even think that.
Nah, hang on 1 second. I'm just going to pick up this book.
Cam, no, that's Powers of Horror. Cam, you don't know what sort of dark forces you're about to tamper with.
Fine, well, really, this is your fault for trying to grab it out of my hand. Because now it's stuck to your webs?
I mean, at least you can't get it, right?
I mean, we still gotta pay for it.
Are we stuck?
All he wanted was human teeth. It's fine. Someone in here wants something.
Ouch.
How come none of them ever respond to the lame pickup lines?
I mean, that last one can be arranged.
Well, that's right. Right click does not look down iron sights. There we go.
Are you the shooter?
No. Just pulling the gun out to make the point. But,
Or was there something else?
I believe there's a side quest in here somewhere. Oh, hang on. I think I know where to find. I saw the fortune teller outside, so I can go get it from that direction. I don't know why you had so many reservations about this book. The corpse, seen without God and outside of science, is the utmost abjection. It is death infecting life. Abject. It is something rejected from which one does not part, from which one does not protect oneself as from an object. Imaginary uncanniness and real threat, it beckons to us and ends up engulfing us.
I mean, both our noses just started to bleed. I'm sure that's a coincidence.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I've got napkins. Have some. We'll just... So, we're gonna do the right thing here, because we need an XP more than we need money.
But
You want me to do a murder?
what's that? Kill somebody for hire?
Yeah, I can do a murder in exchange for money.
Could you speak directly into my breast pocket, though? Not that there's anything in there recording this conversation.
I mean, is that even illegal? Okay, so Lou is supposed to be in the Red Dragon Lounge, but I guess he just doesn't spawn unless I get him. How much seduction do I need to get that blood doll in the Red Dragon? It hasn't been a problem so far, but at some point, you know, we're going to get into fights here, and I'll start burning blood. Alternatively, I'll start using disciplines accidentally, as I have nearly done on a couple of occasions now. Are you, Lou? Have you seen a Lou around here?
Okay, let me just pick up some protection. A couple of cans of pepper spray should do the trick.
Ouch.
I'm not sure if that works or not. Are you, Lou?
Yep.
That is Lou.
In New World of Darkness, I think like pepper spray will actually like just kill people. It'll kill a vampire in one shot because of how badly they did the mechanics.
I never really looked closely at New World of Darkness. I read the fluff, and I was like, well, this is what I'm here for, and it's not good, so...
I think cutting down to 5 vampire types was a mistake.
Oh, huge mistake. It's like, yeah, let's go ahead and commit ourselves to a specific finite list of vampire types, but let's also make it very small.
And they immediately had all the... Because they did that, and they immediately had the huge bloodline float. Because you want to have a little more customization, and that led to so many bloodlines coming out. Most of which were misses.
Can you say it into my breast pocket? Okay, why do I need to get his whole biography here? Like, I already know this story.
Yeah, what do you do for money exactly? Did you come a little closer?
The repugnance, the retching that thrusts me to the side and turns me away from defilement, sewage, and muck, the shame of compromise, of being in the middle of treachery, the fascinated start that leads me toward and separates me from them.
So the car just went dead. Like, I hope you're happy.
I was trying to get it to fly, okay? I affected the thing I was trying to affect. I'm starting to figure this out.
Have we not tampered with dark forces enough?
I mean, we're still in haunted Texas, sort of. So, clearly not.
With are and we are not. We're in Texarkana. Put the book down and like focus on the game. and maybe the car will start again. Like, give it a good kick. That's how you restart cars, right?
Apparently, yes.
I am a little concerned that the car has started now and all the red. Like, should we be concerned?
Probably not. This is probably fine.
Yeah, I'd never tell anyone that I'm a hitman.
Very good at keeping secrets.
Hold on, let me just post this on my Twitter really quick.
Hashtag crimes. And I thought those people who bragged about shoplifting were irresponsible.
So are we just gonna go back and forth till we're promising us 100% or what?
I feel like a friend would give me 30%. And for 30%, I ate loot too.
So we're just gonna go back and forth?
Yeah, I mean, I could get them to resolve their differences. But I don't know. I'm kind of realizing I don't have a whole lot of things to spend XP on left anymore. Like, I've already got enough to get the hacking up to where I need it. That'll also increase my combat defense a little bit, so that's neat. I wish we could see this costume from the front. Unfortunately, I can't find any way to get Cthulhu to hold still while I pan the camera around, because it does look really impressive from the front. Oh, hey.
That was pretty easy. He seems to be low on blood, though. Oh, no. Also,
I'm mainly just excited that we found a male... I'm mainly just excited that we found a male blood doll. So, you know.
Yeah, the one in the game, apparently. Also, weren't we
Not very
blood?
talkative.
Like...
Yeah, no, I was basically just drinking him for the hell of it. Just because I walked up to him, I didn't know that he was a blood doll, and so I walked up to him, and then I realized, oh, pink text, he's the blood doll. I feel like having shat on this game for having all female blood dolls, I should probably drink from this guy, because it turns out I don't know if this guy was added in the plus patch or not. She seems like she's supposed to be a blood doll. She's got all the flirty lines. Wow, the game's going there.
Man. Yikes. Oh my god.
I mean, there's got to be a cap on this somewhere, but I guess percentages can't go past 100.
Or can they?
I mean, strictly speaking, we could ask for all of the money in the cash, and then also they just pay some more out of, like, the money he made from fortune telling or whatever.
Oh my god.
If Lou won't pay more, he's a dead man.
You're just being blatant about it.
I mean, this is the second time I've been back to him and raised him on it, so I don't see how.
You've gone 10, 20, 30, 40, 50.
Like, you'd think they'd see the pattern by now and just skip to whatever the highest they're willing to pay is. Ah, there you are. You seem to go to the bathroom a lot. I guess you are old.
Oh my god.
I mean, he might try.
Are we just trying to figure out what the cap is?
Hey, man, it's content. Oh, wait. I've just realized. If I switch back to clothes that don't give me a dex penalty, then... Yep, I already have 8 lockpicking. Plus, I can blood buff that if I need to. I could, in theory, get it up to 9.
Which means...
Which means I have very little need for XP.
So we're just gonna kill one of these guys?
Yep, whichever one doesn't give us the cap.
I feel like at some point they're gonna be like, screw you, and they're gonna cut us out. Oh my god.
So I'm pretty sure this is going to cap out at 90. Possibly 100. I think one of them might give us the entire pot just to kill the other guy they hate so much. We're getting close.
He must still be in the bathroom.
Yeah, I think he always spawns in the bathroom.
You're just gonna kill him because he won't leave?
Yeah, I appear to have him bugged out, so...
Yes, you should have not done this in public.
I tried to do it in the bathroom. I guess maybe using the gun was not the most covert way of resolving this.
It's been pretty covert up to this point.
What's humanity like? I still got 6 humanity. I can do a surprising amount of murders and retain my humanity.
Oh, thank goodness. We're getting screwed over, aren't we? All right, now we just turn him into the FBI for doing murder for hire, right? And we'll be totally in the clear, though, right?
I mean, we're a vampire.
Since when has crime been illegal?
Oh, so I guess the law police just decide what's illegal now. Good news. Lots of bad luck.
He was so unlucky he died.
I feel like all this bad luck talisman stuff, I mean, seemed kind of unnecessary. You could have just hired me to kill a guy. I do that.
Apparently. This is the point Kachula is realizing that she is firmly lawfully.
Yes.
She's gonna have to play a anti-paladin next time. She's like, do I indulge myself and play a necromancer in my next D&D session? Again, it's frustrating because everyone at the chantry just wants to play wizards.
She's the only one who ever plays any other classes.
No, she also wants to play a wizard. She just wants to play a necromancer specialist. Now that she's
True.
lawful evil. She has to go around to the other clans, seeing if they'll join the game.
I mean, $800, even in the 1960s, I don't feel like it was that much.
Let's see if the webs can do an inflation calculation. So this game is made.
It's made in 2004.
Let's say 1960.
To be extremely generous and give him as much time as to inflate as possible.
And how much money did he give us?
$860? 800 and something.
That's the equivalent of $7,565.
So, like, that is certainly a decent chunk of change, but it's not that much. Like, it's not a fortune. It's like, oh, wow. That's like, 2 months' wages. While we're looking at the webs, I forget how to do the Gone Fishing quest.
Yeah, let's see if they have anything to say about it.
I believe Zhao's warehouse is involved somehow, but unfortunately I can't find that either. That, however, I can solve by finding a map. They usually got one posted around here somewhere.
You have to go talk to Ming Zhao. Have you already done that?
I have, but not on this subject. I'll go talk to her.
Yeah, you gotta talk to her about the Hengi Yokai, which Yokai is a word in it's a type of essentially the Japanese word for a monster. I think Hengi Yokai is something they coined, which I don't know why you would do that. Like, there's plenty of Japanese monster words.
Yeah, there are a lot of yokai. You really don't need to make up any more. There are more yokai than any reasonable person could ever know what to do with.
Welcome back, Kira. Do you seek guidance?
Yes, we wish to convert to being a Kueijin. How do we do that? I guess I'd like to ask you a few questions.
There we go.
Yes, the Henryokai. Zugema, I believe his name was.
So I think the Hengi Yokai are just
He announced his presence.
lycanthropes, but Asian in the world of darkness, which again is all the same problems of having the Kueijin be vampires but Asian.
Right.
Because like he's gonna be like essentially a wereshark, which you could have just used an actual yokai. Like there, as you mentioned, there's a lot of them,
Right.
and like Japan has a very strong horror tradition, independent of the West. That there's a lot to draw from for a horror game. Like, they've had a very strong cinematic industry for decades. They have quite on ghost stories. They have all sorts of monsters that you could use that you don't actually have to just make something up and pretend like it's Japanese. Why are we draining him again?
I was double checking to make sure he isn't the Hengi yokai. I'm not sure he speaks English. Ah, here's the Hengi yokai.
I think it's the only time we use dominate and it has not worked.
Yeah. I got an auto shotgun. I'm good.
Oh, and this is going to give us an opportunity to talk about things you should not include in your horror game.
Yeah. Entry 1. Were sharks.
I guess we should wait for it to show up before we talk about why it's stupid.
I mean, it's going to be on screen for like 3 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, it criticizes itself.
Hanbanya. Where? You want to kill Henryokai with me? Why?
Because that's content. Why not?
I kill you after Henryokai. Is this fair for you?
Like, I don't know why she called us a demon. Like, I think Vampire Hunter D was already a thing in Japan at the time. So, like she's probably aware of vampire as a concept. Like, yep, Vampire Hunter D came out in 1983.
She may just assume that vampires are some type of demon. I gotta go track down the map so I can figure out where the hell the fish market is.
It's right by... It's the other street. It's right by Zhao's Imports.
So yeah, I'm basically on top of it. I just don't know.
I think you aren't. What about the
Well,
other
that-
side of Chinatown down? Like, I would point to
Yeah.
it because it's
Oh, yeah, no.
It's the
It is-
very other side. Like, I would
Yeah.
point to it, except my hands are still stuck in the web. Do you not
I mean,
have
but
like,
if
a
your
pair of
hands-
scissors?
I mean, those webs look pretty thick. I feel like I'd ruin the scissors.
Oh, there she is. I think that's it.
Is she standing around somewhere?
Doesn't she change her outfit?
I think there's a generic NPC.
Oh. Oh, yeah. Because I know she changes her outfit for the fight, but I guess... Doesn't she?
Oh, hey, there's Zhao's imports. That means... This is either the side quest or the main quest, either way. We're going to advance something in here.
I think this is it. Because it's in a warehouse. I think this, as I recall, this is where you fight him.
No, this is the other place.
I guess we're doing two quests simultaneously.
Yeah, we'll just go across the street after this and... Well, I've got good news. There's not going to be very many of them left by the end of the night.
Well, I was correct that a fight does happen here. A katana!
We've got our katana. And I believe some of these guys have Uzis. That, however, is a MAC-10. If they don't have Uzis here, they definitely have them in the club. Door opens up and I just mow them down with automatic fire. How did you think this was going to go? I mean, these guys keep bringing me more ammo, so, like, you know, hey. That was a lot of gunfighting, and I'm not sure he survived.
I mean, he's gone.
Well, got what I needed from him.